Welcome to High Point University's premier life skills seminars. Today's session features Russell Weiner, Domino's President and Chief Operating Officer. Russell also serves as High Point University's corporate executive in residence, where he mentors and inspires HPU students through engaging programs just like this seminar on transformation.
Hello. Hello. Let's get this ugly mug off I always got to make sure I'm not wearing the tie that I was wearing when they took the picture. It's so incredible to be here today. I appreciate y'all coming. And the topic is driving transformation. And I'm going to, try to tell you a little bit how we drove transformation at Domino's, but not just what we did, because you don't need to hear another story. But I think more importantly, given where you are, is how we did it. Because I think these are skills that you can do. You're going to be, the next generation running this world. The how is as much important as the what. And I know it's college, and I know there was a game last night, so everyone's probably really tired. And so I always like to start off, at least the college versions of these, with this chart, because it gets people to maybe look, even though they were out maybe too late last night. So I started Domino's in 2010. This transformation process I'm going to talk to you about started in 2010. If you had $1 in stock in 2010 and you invested it in Domino's versus Amazon, Apple, all these other companies, you would be better off if you did it in Domino's. So this is the story you're going to hear today. Sorry. All right. So the story is the pizza turnaround, and usually when I give this course, a lot of folks have actually heard about it or seen about it, but I realized the majority of you were probably 9 when this came out. So I'm going to tell this like you never heard it before. And the pizza turnaround is a process that we started in 2009 because our product wasn't very good and our brand was not in a good place. Why did we need to change our pizza and our message? Well, sales weren't good. So this is 2006, 7, and 8. I will say these were the years before I started at Domino's, so I was at Pepsi these years. The only good thing about this chart is that it led to me being hired, as far as my concerns. The other guy is working somewhere else. Sorry, this is not. All right. And so I started in 2008 kind of around here. So the stock price was around $12. And really quickly into it, I don't know if it was because it was announced that I was the chief marketing officer, the stock tanked. I have no idea. Maybe it was me, maybe it was somewhere else. But it's got as low as $2.83. And I before that I was running marketing on the Pepsi brand. I'd moved my family across, at least across a few states from New York to Michigan, and it was, whoa, what did you get yourself into at this point? I don't know if there's a better, sorry. All right. So what do you do when you have a problem with your product is you do some research in the product, and we did research, and it turned out that of all the pizza brands out there, we were tied for last place with the purveyor of pizza, Sir Charles E. Cheese, that I'm sure many of you are very familiar with. This is not a place you want to be, right? If you're a pizza company, this is not a place you want to be. And so we spent a long time, because what I'm going to talk to you about in a second is how to come up with a big idea. Well, if you want to come up with a big idea, a big marketing idea, you need to make sure that the product, what it is that you're marketing, is up to snuff. Because if you do a great job marketing and your product isn't good, nothing kills, thank you, nothing kills a new idea better than a bad product. So we spent 2 years working on the product. Now you may say, hey, it's not rocket science, it's not rocket science, it's pizza. Why do you have to spend so much time working on the product? Well, if you're going to do breakthrough marketing, like I said, the product needs to be great. And I'll give you an example. Have you heard of the brand Oldsmobile before? So from Marketing 101, if you are coming up with the name of a brand, don't have it start with old. But anyway, the marketing folks at Oldsmobile were kind of smart. This is way back when. And they had a really good insight. They realized that everyone thought that Oldsmobile was like the car your dad drives, right? And so their marketing campaign was all about, this isn't your father's Oldsmobile, it's a new generation of Oldsmobile. And so that was a marketing idea. Well, what about the product? So they're saying, this is not your father's Oldsmobile, but they launch your mother's Oldsmobile, right? And this is super important, for those of you who are thinking about doing marketing in a career. It's always been important for me to have new products report into marketing. I don't want to be in a company where we have a great insight, it's not your father's Oldsmobile, and they deliver me mom's Oldsmobile. There's nothing I can do there. So as you think about what you do for a career, those of you in business, just if you're in charge of marketing or selling something, you want to have some skin in the game, making sure that you can deliver on the promise that you're about to tell people. So most important thing for a breakthrough campaign is that your product rocks. We have a simple product, right? Crust, sauce, and cheese. It's not really complicated. But it kind of is. So I'm going to give you maybe a six-day market research course in about 30 seconds. And so you would think, so we did a lot of research. We had what are the top 10 crusts we can have? What are the top 10 sauces we can have? What are the top 10 cheeses we could have? And one would think, you do all that testing, you take the number one crust, right? Number one sauce, number one cheese, and you put them together, you'll have the number one pizza, right? Wrong. And why? I'll give you a couple examples. The one isn't politically correct, but it usually gets a giggle. You ever see two relatively attractive people walking down the street with their baby? You got to look at the baby, and the baby's maybe not quite as good looking as the parents. Just because two things are good doesn't mean they result in a, right? Or for those of you maybe who are wine fanatics, just because it's a great wine and a great steak doesn't mean they'll taste great together. And so this wasn't about getting the best sauce, crust, and cheese individually. This is about the best combination, and the combination was like the third best cheese and the second best sauce, and it's much more complex as you go through this. And at the end of the day, the product was 25% better than the old product, which says a lot about the new product, also says a lot about the old product. So we had a great product now. That's all I'm going to talk about product. Now about marketing. The key here, because you saw the stock was $2.83. We had a great product. We needed a marketing idea that I remember briefing the team and saying, we've got to get 10 years of sales in 1 year. We've got to get 10 years of sales in 1 year. How do we do that? And I'm going to take you through a process in a second, but I knew we had to do something different because I went on to Google that night. So this is 2009. Because in marketing, what you do is you write a creative brief for your advertising agency. And so I went on and I Googled the word new and improved. And I got 693 million hits. So I knew that if we were going to do an ad that said, hey, we're Domino's, we got a new product that's new and improved, try it today. I mean, there's nothing interesting there. There's nothing breakthrough. And so how do you come up with breakthrough idea? We use this process that we call identification of tensions. So what is a tension? A tension is, if you look at this kind of coil here, a tension is a genuine kind of coiled up discomfort in society, right? And if you were to think about this coil here and all this tension, if there was like a magic button to release the tension, imagine all the energy that would be coming out of this. And so what your job as a business person, or your job in this case as a marketer, is to figure out a tension in society that if you address it, everyone's going to be talking about it, because everyone wants to talk about it, because there's all this coiled up tension around these areas. Now, there may be more, but the way we look at it is there are 3 areas to look at for tensions. One is brand tension, the other is customer, one's with your customer, and the other is cultural. And I'll bring them to life showing you how we did it at Domino's. So from a brand tension, what was the brand tension? Remember, Chuck E. Cheese, right? So, okay, this is I guess today you'd call it a meme. This is so old that this was called a JPEG back then. But essentially, so a friend of mine from New York sent this to me when I was at my lowest and said, they didn't do it, but they said, you know, like their point was, oh my God, how does your brand need to look such that someone spent enough time, they thought their time would be worthwhile to create this. You know, the Domino's pizza, we make this was certainly not an ad that we did. But someone did it at home because they knew they'd send it around and it would get viral and people would look at it. That's the Domino's that you're talking about. So the brand tension there was we were a pizza company and our pizza wasn't very good, right? What were the tensions in society around that time? So, like I said, many of you were probably around 9, so you may not remember, but there was a lot going on. There was a bad kind of an economic crisis. So all the big U.S. car companies were failing. They were actually going and asking for bailouts. You may have heard about bailouts. They were asking for bailouts. The housing market, houses were kind of overpriced, and that started to crash, and people were losing their homes, and just folks, like always, weren't trusting their government to help fix the problems. And so what was going on is in the pillars of society, the tension was people wanted folks to stop lying and just tell them the truth. Tell me what's going on. Why can't you just tell me the truth? And this is the idea of tensions, right? The world wanted someone to tell them the truth, and we had a pretty scary truth, which is, you know, about the pizza quality. And if you can collide those two things together, the thought was we'd have a big idea. Because, look, no one cares about a little pizza company. But if this little pizza company can do what folks want their politicians to do, what they want their banks to do, their other companies, if we can do what they want everyone else to do, then they'll say, how? Why can't you do that? And everyone will get talking. That's the idea about tensions. And so this is the creative brief that I wrote to the agency that night, which was, in today's world of deceit and mistrust, this is 2009, we would connect with people by doing something really unexpected, by being transparent, by telling them the truth, right? By listening, telling the truth, and do something about it. The other important thing before I get into, I'm going to start to show you some ads that we did off of that creative brief. The way I think about marketing and business is, you know, we're all really busy in our lives, right? Short of my mom, nobody watches every Domino's commercial, or when I worked at Pepsi, every Pepsi commercial. You know, you're ironing, there's kids crying in the background, you got a million things going on. And so if you have a big idea, which is what this tension process is all about. By the way, tension's not easy. There are a lot of tensions in society, a lot of brands with tensions. So you're going to want to do a lot of research, not just to identify them, but figure out which ones, when they collide together, are going to be big with consumers. But then when you do, if it's a big idea, you want to tell a story about it. You don't want to just talk about it one time. And so what we did was approach the year saying, okay, this is a tension, honesty and transparency. We're going to not do this in one ad. This is going to be about who we are. And so the way I like to think about campaigns like this is it's like a play, right? If you go to a play, it's not one act and you're gone, right? Not two acts. There's maybe then the intermission. I mean, there's several acts of this, and each act in and of itself needs to be inspiring. But what you want is, at the end of the play, all these people who've come to see it, right? You want a standing ovation. And what's a standing ovation in marketing? A standing ovation in marketing is that they're going to buy your product like never before. And so how do you tell the story? So honesty and transparency was the theme. Act 1 of our play, which launched in January of 2010, was us saying, hey, you know what? We listened to our toughest critics, and they inspired us to reinvent our pizza from the crust up. Hopefully this will be loud enough. I'm going to play the spot.
Domino's pizza crust to me is like cardboard.
I hear what some folks are saying about our stuff.
The sauce tastes like ketchup.
Totally void of flavor.
I mean, that hits you right in the heart.
Most companies hide the criticism that they're getting, and we actually face it head on.
This is what's driving us. This is what's making us want to get better.
There comes a time when you know you've got to make a change. You've got to move forward.
What's different about the new pizza?
We improved everything. Sauce, crust, cheese, you name it, it's better.
We got a much better tasting sauce.
We put 40% more herbs in it. It's a bold flavor.
More flavorful cheese.
Cheese, it's cheese.
Well, we're putting a garlic seasoning on the crust now. It's awesome.
To be this honest, you have to have the food to back it up. We're so proud of this pizza, we want everybody to try it. The deal is 2 medium, 2-topping pizzas for $5.99 each. If you don't like it, we'll give you your money back.
All of it. Not half of it, all of it.
All right, so it may not seem like a big deal now. It was a big deal, like going on air for a company that at that time was 50 years old saying that your product's not good is a big deal. Now, the cool thing, I'm going to show some charts. So this ad hit, like I said, the tensions were ripe. And it was out of the gate. I mean, sales were through the roof. We were 2 days away from running out of pepperoni, which for those of you who know, there are no pepperoni trees. It takes time to cure that. So, right, we had no idea how big this was going to be. And we also didn't have enough people in the stores to deal with all the volume. And so this is a picture of, so we all went to the stores to help. And this is a picture of the store I went to, right, which is really cool. And so you can see in the back the guys tracking sales, and you can see where the sales had been, you know, again, when things weren't really going that well. All of a sudden, we put that ad on, and it literally is like through the roof. So I have this next to the picture of my kids, you know, in my album. You know, the cool thing when you do good in business is you affect other people's lives, right? Not just your customers, not just your stockholders. We've got independent franchisees all over the world who are dealing with a brand that was in trouble, trying to feed their families and pay their employees. When something like this happens, you make a big change in their life. Then when we did it, there was something new out there called Twitter. You're like, what? Now it's old. But it brings, what we did was we actually took all the comments people were tweeting about us, and we put it on our homepage when people ordered pizza. And you may ask why. So this is an example of what I call double-click marketing. Double-click marketing is everyone's going to watch your TV spot. But what you want to do is you want to create more for people to look at who are interested. Kind of like, you know those Russian dolls that they're kind of nested inside each other? You open up one, you open up another. So the idea in marketing is not just to create the big ad, but kind of a trail of breadcrumbs that if people want to go deeper, not everyone's going to go deeper, but the ones that do and really understand your story are then going to go out and say, hey, these guys were telling the truth. Remember, our campaign was all about telling the truth, so we have to prove that we're telling the truth. Well, what better way to prove it than unfiltered comments about what people say about our pizza, right? So when you come up with campaigns, that's what you want to do, is not just come up with the initial idea, right? But come up with the proof points. Come up with the proof points. And so we went from people doing stuff like this about our brand to people doing stuff like this about our brand. That's cool. We didn't do this either. I am from the Bronx, but I still would not use that word in an ad. Yeah, so it's kind of cool. And so things were pretty amazing. Now, so that was part one of the spot. But remember what I said is if you spend your time and you find a good tension, you're not just going to talk about it once. It's going to be a continued story that you need to weave through. So if part one was, hey, we went to all these people who said the pizza wasn't very good, we're going to change it. I promise you it's going to be good. Well, did we deliver on it? So what we decided to do was go to the houses, and I can tell you in Q&A how we did it. We surprised people, kind of reality TV director. We went to all the homes of the people who didn't like the pizza with the new pizza. The idea was, try it. And I can tell you, hand on heart, if they liked it or didn't like it, we were going to put it on TV. Because I felt like, actually, people would believe us more if there were a couple folks who didn't like it as much. Now, in this case, everyone liked it better. I mean, it was a pretty easy bar to hurdle for the old one. So I'm going to show you an ad, and then I'm going to show you a double-click marketing. So this is the proof that we actually did do something about it.
here to see Carlos. Carlos was in a focus group and he said some unflattering things about Domino's Pizza.
Crust is a little too rubbery.
We're bringing him the new and improved pizza. Carlos!
Low quality and forgettable.
Saul? I didn't know you were listening.
Domino's Pizza should start over.
She has no idea we're coming. Adrienne?
Yeah. Uh-oh.
But if it's not great, tell me.
I'm eating my words.
I'm back. I'm in.
The critics have spoken. Now it's your turn. Try 2 medium, 2 topping inspired new pizzas for just $5.99 each.
All right, so that's kind of cool, but if you're watching it at home, what are you thinking? Remember, you're always as the marketer or the business person, you got to say, what are people thinking? They're thinking, well, of course they're only going to show us the good stuff, right? And so this is where double-click marketing comes in account. We want to give people breadcrumbs. The people who are unsure, who care to see research, did we just show the good stuff? What we did was we did a short-form video that we put on YouTube that showed everything. And I'm going to show you, it's 3 minutes, it's a little long, but I will tell you, it is the favorite thing that I think we've done as part of this, because it's completely honest and transparent. We didn't run it on TV, it was on the internet, it got several million hits. But this is then what do we call it? This is what the people who saw this, not everyone in the world saw it, but the people who saw it then became our biggest advocates. And instead of hearing from me, Domino's, our pizza's great, you hear from your friend Bobby or whatever, hey, I saw this, this is real. So here's a proof point, here's a long-term video.
We're going to see Claudia. She has no idea we're coming. She said some pretty harsh stuff about our old pizza. We're going to bring the new pizza. Let's see what happens. Domino's Pizza!
Yes?
Claudia?
Yes?
Claudia, did you say...
Give the Domino's head chef more freedom to make a pizza that's not a formula. Yes, I did.
Claudia, I happen to have the head chef from Domino's here, and he'd like to ask you a couple of questions, too.
He looks mad.
I'm not mad. Because your comments helped us create a brand new Domino's Pizza. New sauce, new crust, new cheese. Want to try it?
Sure. Looks good. It's actually really good.
Is there enough cheese on it?
Lots of cheese.
Lots of cheese.
It is very good.
Now, you're not just saying that because the camera's...
No, I'm really...
I mean, we want the real Claudia, the one we saw on the tape.
You can't see the sauce through the top. It's really good. You guys, I'm so impressed, really. I can't believe a company would do that. I'm so really impressed that you guys really took it seriously. I can't believe you guys listened.
Is this it? Let's go.
Clipboard? Carlos.
Yes.
How are you?
Good.
Sam from Domino's Pizza.
Okay.
Hey, listen, did you say Domino's crust is a little too rubbery?
Domino's crust is a little too rubbery.
I did, but I didn't know I was going to be meeting the head chef, so this is a little awkward.
Yeah.
Sorry. This is unexpected.
No, listen, don't be sorry. What you said helped us get better. We have a brand new pizza. You want to try it?
Sure, I'll give it a shot. This is great. This is great.
Try the crust.
Yeah, try the crust. Try the crust.
This is fantastic.
Ah! Our cameras!
Hey, how are you? Saul? Sam from Domino's Pizza.
I have to go. Something's going on here.
Saul, did you say...
To me, Domino's tastes low quality and forgettable.
I didn't know you were listening, but I was being truthful.
Your comments help inspire us to change everything about our pizza. Would you mind trying a piece?
Here we go. Here we go. Wow. I'm telling you how it is. This is the real thing right now. First off the bat, does not taste like Domino's pizza. The way I know Domino's. I'm back. I'm in. I'm in, guys.
Domino's Pizza.
Hey.
Adrienne?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Sam from Domino's Pizza.
Hi, you ordered pizza?
Hey, did you say these things in a focus group?
Doesn't feel like there's much love in Domino's Pizza.
You said that?
Yeah.
I happen to bring the head chef from Domino's Pizza.
No, you did not. I'm sorry.
Did you say that about our pizza?
Wow, I did.
Don't be sorry. Your comments helped us to improve everything about our pizza. Try it.
Can I?
Please.
Wow.
Some love in there, isn't it?
There's a lot of love in there. This is what I was talking about.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for making a great pizza, finally.
Mark, how are you? Good. Sam from Domino's Pizza.
How you doing?
Did you say this, Mark?
Domino's tastes like cardboard with tomato paste and pepperoni on top. Yes, I did. Yes.
Why would you say such a thing?
I enjoy a good quality pizza, and I was just trying to be very honest.
Okay. You know what I have for you? Your comments? Help us create a brand new pizza. From scratch, top to bottom.
Oh, that looks absolutely delicious.
Go ahead.
Oh my God, that's delicious.
Now, you're not just saying that because there's cameras.
No, that's a good pizza.
What do you like about it?
It tastes fresh. You can taste the sauce, the zesty sauce, the pepperoni, the sausage, the cheese, everything is absolutely delicious. And that's the way a pizza should be. Can I keep the rest of this?
By the way, he was an off-duty police officer. He actually was packing, so luckily he liked the pizza. All right, well, we're not done, right? We're the honest, transparent company. And so what else can we say about that story? I know you have a question. I was told I have to finish at 1, and then I'll stay for a Q&A. Otherwise, sorry. But I'll call on you first. All right. So honesty and transparency, there's a lot more we can do there, right? Think about the food industry. How many times you see a commercial and they open up and the burger looks perfectly stacked, or the pizza, I was talking to another class and I called it cheese porn, right? You ever see them, they pull the slice of cheese, the pizza out, and the cheese is like all over the place, or they crack the lobster and the juices are, that's not, but then you do it in real life and it ain't nothing like that. And so what we wanted to tell people was, we understand you see that, and our pizza is so good, we don't have to do any of that stuff. So we're gonna take you through what we used to do to admit that we do it, and we're going to promise we're not going to do it anymore. This is the spot.
For years, food companies have been doing some pretty crazy things to make their food look good in ads.
None of it does a thing to make the pizza taste any better.
So starting now, Domino's is changing the way we photograph our pizza.
With pizza this good, you don't need all that nonsense. You just need sauce with a little zip, plenty of real cheese, and a garlic-seasoned crust.
In fact, we're so confident in our pizza, we want you to shoot our photos. Just order up 2 mediums and 2 toppings for $5.99 each and send us your shots.
Domino's, what you see is what you get.
So we basically, what we did was we swore off, we're never going to do these professional shots anymore, and I'll show you in a second. We just use shots of our pizza that customers do. And I'll show you those in a second. So we ran this competition called Show Us Your Pizza. Now, unfortunately, some people didn't hear that we said, show us your pizza. And so we did have to get HR involved to go through the pictures, is what I will tell you. But we got over 30,000 pizzas, thank God. Yeah. And really cool ones. So what I realized the other day is this kid's like 11 now, right? We got to find this kid. And look at these shots. Look at this shot. I mean, this is a regular person shot this pizza. And so we don't need all the fluff. We can embrace this whole idea of honesty and transparency. All right, what's next? Because the story's got to continue, right? We're not a one-hit wonder. What we wanted to let people know is, look, I mean, today Domino's has 18,000 stores around the world. We didn't have that many, but we still had thousands of thousands back then. And what we realized is that we are only as good as the worst executing Domino's pizza. And no matter what we say on TV, there is going to be somebody out there who gets a product that isn't good. And so we have to address that, right? Because they're going to be the next person tweeting, look what I got. And so why should they do it? Why can't we look at ourselves and say, how do we get better? And so we ran this spot.
This is not acceptable. Bryce in Minnesota, you shouldn't have to get this from Domino's. We're better than this.
When we launched ShowUsYourPizza.com, we asked our customers to be the photographers, and we've been thrilled by the results.
But this, it really gets me upset. I'm Patrick Doyle, the CEO of this company. We're not going to fail. We aren't going to deliver pizzas like this. I guarantee it.
So we're extending our $5.99 inspired pizza deal because we want to see even more of your pizza shots.
We're still listening. We're going to learn. We're going to get better.
So now the cool thing about, yeah, it's honest and transparent and that kind of helped. But the cool thing about this is you heard the name of the customer, right? His name was Bryce from Minnesota. Every Domino's pizza maker, every Domino's franchisee in the US knew who made Bryce's pizza, right? It's a little, I'm Jewish, little Jewish grandma guilt now. Tell all the pizza makers around the world. And what we realized was not only could we do a great consumer ad on this, but by showing this pizza, guess what we did? We just raised the bar for all of our stores because they don't want to be the next store whose pizza is going to be on air. And so the pizza quality scores, even though we had done nothing different, went through the roof. And it was just because this made people make it better. And so just the important thing to understand when you do marketing, it's not always for your customers, it's sometimes for the internal people as well. And so the key is just to never stop the story. So I'm going to take myself out of, we're no longer in 2010. I don't want to give you just a few more samples of how we use this work more recently. And so what I think, once we were established and we were no longer kind of the Chuck E. Cheese of pizza, right? What we've shown people is we are obsessed, we will do anything. We are obsessed about the product quality of our pizza. But product quality is just one thing. If we're crazy pizza lunatics, then we should care about the ordering experience, we should care about the delivery experience, we should care about all these things. And so what we started to do, and now, 3/4 of our ads are digital. 3/4 of our orders are on our digital platform. When I first started, the number was in the teens. And what we recognized is innovation doesn't always have to be about the product, right? And so I was in an earlier class, so for those of you here, you're going to have to hear this story again. But I talk a lot about how, when I was at, the difference between innovation and spinovation. Okay, and I give my own career example. When I was at Pepsi, I was part of the launches of cherry Pepsi, lemon Pepsi, lime Pepsi, vanilla Pepsi. I don't know what's next, turkey bacon Pepsi. I don't know what's after that. Those are what I call spinovations. That's interesting, that's new, but those are usually what they call limited time offerings. And you see those in restaurants all the time, right? Now introducing this pizza, it's got this, and it's stuffed in the crust, or it's got this, but those things are around. A spinovation is just there for 2 or 3 months. Right, and what happens, if you talk about a spinovation, what does that say about your core product can't be really that good? And oh, by the way, after you do the 4th and 5th and 6th spinovation, what's left? And so what I'd urge everyone to think about is true innovation. In our case, we're a pizza company, but it actually doesn't have to be about the product. We already have a great product. We spend tons and tons of money doing this. So let's obsess about other things about the process and innovate there, right? So ordering. All this stuff exists now. It may seem hack. None of this stuff existed before. So how do you show people that you're obsessed about ordering? You make sure that if there's any way on this planet to order a pizza, we're going to do it, right? We ran this spot.
TV is the best.
Nice try, Eva. Texting is better.
Nothing's better than Twitter.
Smartwatches are the future.
Your entrees.
Hearty.
But mine orders Domino's.
So does mine.
I can order Domino's on Twitter.
So can a text. Pizza emoji sent, Domino's ordered. Smiley face.
Use your favorite device to order 2 medium 2-topping pizzas for $5.99 each.
Now this is really important. So, one of the things you see there is you could literally send to Domino's a pizza emoji. And if you go on our website beforehand and you say pizza emoji for me, my favorite order is pepperoni and mushrooms, a Coke, and a this. All you have to do is send us a pizza emoji, and we'll send it to you. Now, it sounds really cool, right? We put it on TV, so it has to be a big idea, right? Well, it is a big idea, but not a lot of people do it. They say, oh my God, that's so cool. I can order Domino's with a pizza emoji. Let me call Domino's. So the important thing to remember with all this is when you're building a brand, it's not always about how many people use all of these things. Is what doing this makes people think about your brand. And I'm not going to talk about this as attention, but people ask me, okay, well, this is attention a long time ago. Tell me attention about today. I think a big tension today is all about technology. So there's a great book, if you have a chance to read. If you don't, actually, I'll just tell you what the book is. It's called Thank You for Being Late. It's by Thomas Friedman. And what Thomas Friedman basically talks about is human beings, we are the same today as we were 300,000 years ago. So if you think of a human being's ability to take on and understand new things, we ain't that different than, the folks who wore the loincloth a few 100,000 years ago. So our ability to take, we may look fancier and all that kind of stuff, we're that same person. Now, his point is that with the advent of, with chip, Moore's Law, right? The amount of information a chip can process doubles every year. Now you've got cloud technology, you've got fiber. Things go faster than ever. And so if we picture this being the X and Y axis of a chart, if we as humans are about the same as we were, this is a straight line here, me doing this, about the same as we were 300,000 years ago in the ability to take on new things, what has happened recently with technology? Right? Technology has gone through the roof. So we are now at the point where our ability to take in all this technology is actually higher than, the two lines basically cross, if you think about that graph. Does that make sense? And so what happens when that happens, people feel overwhelmed. That like, oh my God, how am I going to catch up? And so when we do stuff like that at Domino's, and we show, hey, you can order with a pizza emoji, when I go to your house, and you've got Domino's sitting there, you may have ordered Domino's on the phone, but you know what? You can tell people that you ordered it with your pizza emoji. And so suddenly in this world where, hey, how do I show folks that I'm kind of up to speed and I know what's going on with all this tech stuff, having a box of Domino's pizza out there shows that you're connected with a brand, so you must be in the know of all this cool technology stuff. All right? We're a delivery company. How do we show folks that we are obsessed with delivery? What used to bug me a lot is the folks who would deliver pizza to my house. Their cars were not, I didn't expect it to be a Bentley, but you wanted it to be a little bit nicer than what came to the house. And it struck me that, if God forbid there's a fire in your house, right? You call the fire department. If they show up in a 1973 Oldsmobile Silhouette and a garden hose, you don't have a lot of confidence, right? The guy who comes to your house from UPS, he doesn't come with a car. This is a UPS truck. And so the point was, okay, well, heck, we're a pizza delivery company. Shouldn't we want to intentionally build a vehicle, and now we're well past this, we're doing driverless vehicles and all this other stuff, but back then it was, what if we made a car that was only designed to deliver pizza?
It's time to imagine the unimaginable reimagined and speed past the present into the future. Today, it's time for a pizza delivery car with pizza-inspired wheels, a driver-focused interior with 35 cubic feet of pizza storage capacity, a warming oven heated up to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and a puddle light to keep our drivers' sneaks fresh. We're taking pizza where it's never been before. Well, sort of. Introducing the 2016 Domino's DXP. That's right, a pizza company just made a pizza delivery car.
So I remember when we did this, it is not easy building a car. We did maybe 350 of them, and I remember board members telling me, how can you launch this if not everyone's going to see the car when it comes up to their house? But it didn't matter. Back to the emoji example. All people want to know is that we are trying our darndest to make the experience great. And this is a proof point, right? Oh, yes, we did. This is our tagline. This is not like a just do it or anything. Like, this is an internal tagline. Our point is, when customers see what we do, when we're done doing it, we want them saying, oh my God, did Domino's actually say their pizza stinks? build a vehicle? And our answer has to be, oh, yes, we did. And that is our bar for success, is are we creating these, oh, yes, we did moments? Because even though we had 300 cars, we put this on air, we sold tons of pizza, right? The last ad I'm going to show you is, for the first 55 years of Domino's, we were a delivery company. And we decided we need to diversify and get into carryout. And we try to figure out, actually, I'm not going to tell you the tension on this one. We just decided that we needed to get into the carryout pizza business, which is 2.5 times as big as the delivery business. And so I'm going to show you an ad in a second, and then I'm going to ask you, what cultural tension do you think we hit on when we came up with this carryout spot?
Domino's delivery drivers are experts at handling bad roads. But those roads shouldn't ruin your pizza when you carry out. So we're doing something about them, starting with this one. If your drive home is rough on pizza, tell us at pavingforpizza.com so we can fix roads across the country. Then carry out large 3-topping pizzas for $7.99 each.
Say it after me. Infrastructure, right? We got an infrastructure bill in front of Congress, right? This is still a tension going on. And so we took that tension and we decided, how do we use people talking about infrastructure to show that we are so nuts about Domino's Pizza that if we can't deliver your pizza and you have to deliver it yourself, we're going to do everything we can to make it great. We're going to pave potholes if we have to. That's the cultural tension. And again, it's still one today. Now, it was such a cultural tension that literally within a week after we launched this spot, this was a post from Bernie Sanders. And I can't do Bernie Sanders really well, so I'll just read it in my voice. But it should not be up to Domino's Pizza to repair our country's infrastructure. We need to be spending more on infrastructure, not less. All right? That's what it's like when you break attention. Everyone talks about you. All right? And so since we relaunched the pizza in 2010, we've tracked sales every single year. These are same-store sales. These are the top 10 restaurants in the country. Forget about just pizza. There's not been a restaurant in this country that has outgrown Domino's over the last decade. We had this really cool quote from JP Morgan. We found ourselves describing the new Domino's as a tech company. Remember that no one uses. They order, but they don't do the other stuff. A tech company disguised as a marketing company disguised as a pizza company. Right? I think the whole team takes a lot of pride in that. And so that stock that was at $2.83 back in November of 2008, this year hit a high of $548.72. And so, I'm here just to let you know, I'll take this page off because it's not about the results. Well, it is about the results. You have the ability to make substantial changes in any business that you're working on. And what you need to do is approach it in a disciplined way with how to come up with big ideas, right? What Google talks about this idea called, how do we 10x an idea? You like an idea? We don't want to make it incrementally better, but if we make it 10% better, by the time it gets through legal and all the muckety-mucks, it's hardly better at all. So we want to make something 10x better. How do you make something 10x better? Is you research behind it, you come up with the idea. Now, when we did that Our Pizza Stinks ad on TV, it looked like a big risk, but it wasn't. Why? Because we tested it. We already tested it. It's actually the #1 scoring restaurant ad of all time, still is. And if it didn't work, we had a backup. So what you got to do is do the research, try to 10x the idea, and just make sure you have backup plans. Because then it's going to look like, oh my God, what a risky thing they did. They jumped out of an airplane. No, we jumped out of an airplane with a bunch of parachutes. And so hopefully you came away with understanding a little bit about how to approach the process of coming up with a big idea. And I actually ended up early. That's good. So I'd be happy to take any questions. And when folks leave, I'll stick around longer. Yeah, thanks. right, you're first. I remember.
Thank you. So how do you get all the addresses of people in that video?
Oh.
Just like stalk them down?
Yeah, so the question, I'll try to repeat the questions because between the masks and the microphones. So the question was, how do we find the people whose houses we went to? Did we stalk them? So yes. Well, we did focus groups, right? When you do focus groups, you get the name and address of people. And then what we did was we worked with the folks we worked with a reality TV producer who basically knows how to do this stuff. So essentially anyone who brought somebody with them to focus groups, off to the side we'd said, hey, we want to involve you in something, we'll pay you for it. Are you okay? We just need to know when Brandy's going to be home. And then what you saw there were true surprises in every case, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so the question there is, how do you get people to correctly, portray your vision? Well, first of all, this is our vision. I think any leader who tells you this is hopefully I didn't use the word my or I at all. What you need to do as a leader is you absolutely need to take others with you. And the easiest way to do it, other than just being a nice human being and do what mom told you, which is do unto others, which not everyone in business does, do that, and you'll be successful, is everyone has different points of view. And a lot of people run their business by saying, hey, the biggest business card wins. Who's ever got the highest title, that's what you got to do. Everyone's got to follow that title. And I think that's a bunch of, whatever. I'm really into data. And the fact is, with all of these things, when we had to go in to our team members or our board and tell them what we're going to do on air, we didn't say, well, it's my opinion that our pizza's not really. We showed them the data. And so the best way to align, we've got 350,000 people around the world working on Domino's Pizza. I can't give each of them a hug, and the best way to align folks is through data that is irrefutable. So we always show things at 90% plus statistical confidence, and that's how we make our decision. So anyway, hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, I'll make my way up. What was one of the biggest struggles I had during the improvement? Yeah. As a company. Well, I'll tell you, the interesting thing to me, I showed you where we were as a company, and I thought it was going to be much harder. So my first job at Pepsi's a big company. And when for any big company, when you run these big mega brands, you don't want to take too much of a risk, because if you take too much of a risk, the mega brand kind of falls apart. So by not taking big risks, you also can't get big outcomes. But we're at a point where we actually could take a pretty decent risk, although like I said, we had the data, and so it wasn't a risk. The biggest thing that made me nervous, to be honest, was my first time in my life in marketing, where exactly what the team and me wanted to do, they said, okay. They said, okay. They didn't say, well, you got to change this and do that, blah, blah. They just said, okay. And I remember the night that the spot ran, and I got, my voicemail was more than full from a bunch of franchisees who rightly so said, WT, you know what are you saying about this brand? It was all us. If this failed, I couldn't blame anybody. We couldn't blame anyone. And so that was the most nerve-wracking thing, is when you realized you're responsible for all these people and all these jobs in this, now 60-plus-year-old brand, and if it fails, it's all your fault. I still get, my tummy hurts. Yeah. I would say you in the black mask, but half of you have black masks, so that's not going to help. Oh, yeah, so the backup plan for Our Pizza Stinks campaign was actually that second ad where we went to the door and we said, hey, what do you think? So that was the backup spot. Yeah. Purple. Do we think we've... No. So the question is, do I think that we've gotten to a place where kind of we're going to plateau? The cool thing is, and this is why I say like data is your friend. You know, when I joined Domino's, you know, it was a 50-year-old delivery pizza brand. Guess what? The carryout segment is 2.5 times as big as delivery. We're not even a big player there. Think of, you know, drive-through, all the drive-through restaurants you go to. You know, why can't we compete there? You know, while you're waiting for a burger, that doesn't, you know, 60% of people when they go through drive-through take their product, don't eat it in the car. They actually take it to work or to take it home. And so nothing travels better than pizza. Why can't we compete there? Yeah, so I am completely and utterly bullish about all the opportunities. But again, it doesn't come to you in a dream. You got to spend a lot of time, you know, working with your team, doing the research to uncover them. Yeah.
You were very high up in both Pepsi and Domino's. I was wondering if you could explain what is the source of your passion and your success?
Thanks. So the question was, you know, hey, maybe I'll rephrase it. It's like, you know, you're pretty high up when you did this. How did you get there? And how do you explain your passion? And so this is for what it's worth, if you didn't hear anything today, listen to this one, because I think this is one of those that I had no idea when I was doing it, I did it. But as I look in the rearview mirror, this is probably the most important thing to know. So first of all, you know, when I went to college, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I had 3 different majors, and I graduated, ending up really never doing marketing in my life. I ended up doing marketing for a living before I got into president and COO and all that stuff. So a couple things. First, you know, just realize that what you want to do in your life, you got to be at least as passionate as me when you're going to talk about it. If you're not passionate about it, you're not going to love it. You're going to spend more time doing your job than you're going to be sleeping or, you know, with your family or anything like that. And so what I tell you while you're in college is you're going to get a lot of pressure. I remember getting a lot of pressure all the time. What are you going to major in? What's your job? And then when, you know, for me, I graduated because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I'm sitting there with tons of debt. I'd gotten into law school but didn't want to be a lawyer. My parents are like, what are you going to do? All my friends are making money. You're lucky if you know what you want to do, God bless you. Just know that if you know what you want to do and you love it, not because it's what you think you should do, but because you love it, that's great. But what I can tell you, if you're anything like me, what I did undergrad, again, not purposely, but looking back, is just as good to actively check things off the list. Right? I was pre-med, tried it, internship, whatever, no, off. Legal, internship, you know, off. And just get the satisfaction to know it is an accomplishment early in your career to figure out what you don't want to do as much as it is to figure out what you do want to do. And just get to that thing, keep going until you figure out what's going to jazz you up. And then I'll end with this, and then I'll stay here because I think we got to, right? I'm just doing a time check. So there are 3 phases in your life for work. All right, in my book. One is learn, the other is earn, and the third is return. And what I see too many today is the learn phase is really important. And there's so many people looking around and saying, what's the other person doing? What's their job title? How can I make another $10,000? And they leave the learn phase too early. Like when I look at part of why I feel really qualified, when I felt qualified to make this weighty decision at Domino's, because I got trained really well at Pepsi. I got all these rotations, and so it gave me, you know, a decent amount of qualifications to do this. I see too many people today trying to leave too fast to get the extra this in title or whatever. And there's nothing. You need to figure out where you want to go, and your job in the learn phase is to get the background you need to have the eventual job, not the next job. I have too many people, what I say, get promoted to their last job. Because all they want to do is get the promotion. and they find someone to give them that job before they're ready. You don't want to be promoted to your last job. It is a long game. So make sure your learn phase is maximized, all right? Because if you maximize that learn phase, if you think about your career as a staircase, you're not just skipping a couple of stairs when you get to the earn phase. You're going up a couple flights, right? And so like I remember when I was at Pepsi, they said, hey, there's only one time you can leave Pepsi, make sure you maximize it. And that's what I did, when I became CMO of Domino's. Then hopefully, you maximize your earn phase. And look, you need to be paid fairly in the learn phase. I'm not saying you need to be an intern, but really stepping it up. But then what I'm going to make you guarantee me is that you remember the most important part of that, if you are lucky enough to get through the earn phase, is the return phase. And what are you doing to make sure other future leaders can lead the right way? That charities and causes that you think are important, that you can help them. I think to me that's the coolest phase, of life. I kind of feel like I'm in that phase right now, and it's just really it's inspiring. It's great. So learn, earn, return. Do it in that order. Don't go super fast. Would be my kids don't listen to me, so at least you guys, hopefully someone in this audience will. All right, well, are we good? Yeah, I'm gonna stay here. If any questions, please come up, but it was absolutely a pleasure to meet you.